But let me give you a little background about me. I am an executive creative director and global brand strategist, which is one of those titles that doesn't fit on any business card. I've tried. So in human speak, what I do is I use design to solve complex business challenges. I've partnered with some pretty awesome brands. I've won a bunch of awards. You could do some super light Googling on me. CNBC did a show about me and my design work. You could see me with more hair, which is kind of nice. But thank you for laughing. All right, we're getting there. It's good. So most recently, I was the global brand and design guy for General Electric. My leadership was on two pretty cool things. One was the visual expression of the brand. GE is a top 10 global brand valued about $42 billion. And what I did was a lot of like translating business strategy for creatives. I speak business and design pretty fluently. And I also evangelized design and how it could help drive business objectives. And I was also the subject matter expert for brand strategy and design. The second thing I did was help GE accelerate its digital transformation. So I was partnering with a lot of senior leaders, leading high-touch engagements. I was establishing best practices. And the cool thing was I used design to identify some pretty interesting white spaces to drive business forward. So it was really fun. Before that, I ran a design agency. I worked with everybody from like startups to Fortune 200 companies. I'm really proud of the work that I did. I drove unprecedented growth for a wide variety of clients. Before that, I got my master's degree in design from one of the top design programs in the world, School of Visual Arts, a couple blocks away. I can kind of spot bad typography from across the room, but it's one of those things that kind of drill into you when you get your master's degree. And before that, I got a fine arts degree, which means I can paint a picture of you all and it will actually look like you. But you have to like stay still for the next 20 minutes, but I could do it. It's pretty awesome. And today, I'm really excited to talk to you. You're an amazing brand, and I think you do some really interesting stuff. And a couple of things that I'm going to talk about is pretty much to help you accelerate your growth as creative leaders. So we're going to do three things over the next like 30 minutes. We're going to talk about, actually, leadership strategies for design. It's going to be very TED talky. It's going to be high level. So it doesn't matter if you're like the VP of a business unit or you're a junior designer. All the stuff is going to be applicable for you. Second thing, it's really important for me to provide value for you. I mean, you're giving me your time, you're giving me your morning, so I'm really hopeful that some of the stuff that I talk about today will be helpful for you. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of like tips and tricks and hacks, and you don't have to do them all. That's okay. But if there's like one or two things you could take back to your team, or you can try, or bubble up to your manager and it helps, that's great. Third thing we're going to do is it's going to be, so we're going to talk high-level stuff. Second thing, it's going to be very practical and tactical. And the third thing is like Q&A. So I want to provide value, and it's important for me to kind of jump in and talk about some of the things that are going on with you guys. Every culture is different, and you may have some interesting things going on with you, and I'm here to help. I will gladly stay here and answer questions pretty much until they kick me out, so that's okay. You'll also see my social media handles are up there. I'm super active, so every time I give a talk like this, there's always someone like I didn't have a chance to ask the question or anything like that. Just ping me or throw something in the comments section. I answer every single question that gets posted. So we're going to do those three things. We're going to talk about personal strategies for creative leadership. It's going to be very practical and tactical, and then some Q&A. So how's that feel? Sound good? Yes? Okay, cool, awesome. All right. So I love doing these things. Oh, yes. So I love doing things like this. And I was talking to John Ortiz, who's your VP of design. I was like, what would be of value to you guys? And she socialized it with her team and talked to a bunch of people. And the two things that came up were developing high-performing creative teams, which you all clearly are. And second thing was like leading huge, complex, like global challenges. Or I like to call them hugs, huge, unbelievably great goals. So a little bit of this is going to be about leading yourself, and a little bit is going to be about leading other people in order to kind of get the best possible outcome of you or people you're working with. So this is a data visualization of my first 125 days at General Electric. Now, at GE, the team that I was on, it worked with the entire company. It was a small team, but everybody was pretty much a subject matter expert in what they were doing. It was a high-performing team, it was a highly visible team, and it was also a super high-pressure team. As you can kind of see here, there was a lot that was being asked of me in my first 125 days. So I throw this up here for a reason. One, because whenever I give a talk like this is the one that people always want to Instagram. And two, it also gives you an idea of scope. You could see the high-level things that I was working on and also everything else that was being asked of me. So being a high performer and working in a field where you're constantly asked to do stuff, like it's kind of helpful just to keep knowledgeable of what you're doing. So one of the things that I noticed about when I joined this team at General Electric is that they were doing like this is average pretty much for someone who's leading design or creative in the industry. But one of the things I noticed that the team that I was working on, they weren't like superhuman. They weren't Wonder Women and Iron Men. They just had really good work practices. So one of the a couple of things that I'm going to talk about is just little tips and tricks, really practical and tactical ways that you could just be better versions of yourself.